Here to thank you guys. I'm a grassroots politician. I won't come here to officially declare. I will go to my ward to do that. And nobody will chase me from the ward because I'm in their good books. So this is a thank you visit. My family, you are my family, guys. My husband is a journalist like you, and I know you have really assisted my work tremendously. So this is just a thank you visit to your distinguished selves. Like people have been saying, yes, I had done a lot in the Ministry of Tertiary Education and Science and Technology, and also in the Ministry of Education and Human Capital Development. But I keep telling them that I don't work alone. I have distinguished men and women like you that have assisted my job, because I know what media publicity means, and you guys have done a lot of that to publicize my achievements. So I most sincerely thank you so much for that, and that's the reason I have come here this afternoon, to let you know that when you carry your news, you know, fake news, like we always say, is a demon. So you don't refer to me again as the Commissioner for Education and Human Capital Development anymore from today. I am Madibbo Kawu. I am by birth from Ilorin East Local Government Area of Kwara State, and by marriage I'm from Ilorin South Local Government Area of Kwara State as well. So basically that's the uniqueness of my candidature. I would be aspiring to contest for the seat of Ilorin East South Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives. And I have been on this journey before, having worked rigorously in the primaries, in an election of a great party, APC, before. I know what it takes, and I am really prepared for this job. I will tell you a brief history of what I have done in my constituency without even knowing that someday I would want to aspire to be anything in my constituency. Since 2012, I have every year, in commemoration of Children's Day, visited public schools, at least one public school in a year, to donate school supplies, storybooks, and also read to the children of those schools. I wasn't doing this alone, we do that as a team. That's the NIS Legacy of Giving Initiative. And we do that every year. We have done for this year as well. So that had taken us to a few schools in my constituency. I had been to the school for the special needs, and when I was appointed and I visited the schools for the special needs, the principal there and the students are not new to me, because I've always visited them to do one thing or the other for them there. I have visited schools in my community, in the Kawu primary school, sorry. I have visited the Tanker primary school as well, just around the corner near my house. That's Fatty roundabout. And it was at that time that we started that journey that I knew there was something wrong with the education sector, because I came in contact with the children in their upper primary schools that couldn't read, that struggled to read. In the class we had about maybe 2 or 3 that could read fluently at their grade level. So that opened my mind to something that was wrong in the sector. And precisely in 2018, February 2018, I had a conversation with my husband. I told him I wanted to contest for this same position, 2018 February. And of course, like most men do, he refused. And I just let it be. I didn't even have to let him see reason. I just obeyed, and I got on doing what I was doing in my private life. And now we are here. In this year, again, early this year, I had that discussion with him, and it didn't take me 5 minutes for him to accept, and he permitted me to contest for this seat. And the next thing I did was, of course, to reach my leader, our boss, His Excellency, the Governor of Kwara State, Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, to mention to him that I had told my husband and he had permitted me, and I was officially telling him as well that I would want to contest as well. And yes, he said, okay, that I should keep praying. So in the past couple of years, in September 2019, I was nominated by His Excellency. And in 2019, we were inaugurated and I was assigned a ministry. I was assigned the Ministry of Education and Human Capital Development. And being an educationist myself, and having been in touch with our schools and the students and the staff of the schools before now, I knew where and what we were to do for these different schools. But of course, you can't work as an island. I knew I needed to also be a team player and to work with the civil servants in the ministry. I've been extremely fortunate. The stories we heard before we came in as commissioners was that civil servants were, what should I call them now? Don't let me say that name that was mentioned, but we had a lot of stories about them, how unfriendly they could be and how they could mislead you and all of that. But I've worked with 3 permanent secretaries, and I think they are very great people, and they have also assisted my work tremendously. And also, whatever I've achieved, I haven't done it because it's just me. It's just because I've been able to work well with others by the power of Almighty Allah. So I've visited schools in the rural communities, all the local governments like I mentioned, because once, as soon as I was inaugurated, I made up my mind that I was going to work and that I was going to do my best like I had done in the previous ministry, and that I was going to complement the effort of His Excellency, bearing in mind that he had put in so much into across board. But of course, I can speak for the education sector, since I started from the Ministry of Tertiary Education and Science and Technology. And also, I was fortunate to be a member of the subcommittee on education during the Transition Implementation Committee of His Excellency as well. We completed that work in April. And we had a whole list of things that we thought we could do immediately we were sworn in as a government. And those recommendations we put forward to His Excellency as well. But unfortunately, because we were not in government, we didn't know what it was at the time. For instance, when I assumed office as a Commissioner for Tertiary Education and Science and Technology, I saw that the government had actually planned to pay over 7 months' salaries that was being owed by the past administration to the tune of over 700 million. Also, we had courses that had not been accredited. We had the College of Nursing in Ilorin here that had lost accreditation for months. All those we had to pay over 300 and something million as well. So in total, in my previous ministry, we paid over 1 billion debt of the past administration. So that's just what it is. You can't achieve except you are in there. That's being in there opened our minds to a lot of things that had gone wrong in the past administration. But so far so good. A lot has been done by His Excellency, and I want to most sincerely thank him as well for giving me the opportunity to have served in this government and to have also reached out to a lot of people, because I was a part of the struggle, the Otoge struggle, like you're all aware. I knew that a lot of people put in so much into it. And what I have done as a commissioner at every point in time, when we had things to do that involved, that we hired ad hoc people to join to be a part of it, I would always first and foremost consider my people that work for us as well to be a part of it, because in that sense, not only are they learning from what we are doing, they are able to learn some stipends, to earn some stipends as well. So basically, I know know what is wrong with the education sector. I mean, I've been in the know of that, like I said, since close to a decade that I've been working with public primary schools. And I'm also in the know that the government cannot do everything. I had to go around schools sometimes July, August last year, where summer lessons were taking place in my community, the vocational school, the Karuma Primary School. I went to those schools. I went to Okiamuku as well. We took instructional materials to them. We went to mentor these children as well in our communities, because the whole idea is to have children that are better than us in every sense of the word. Then what have we done for the communities again as well? We had also been able to provide job opportunities for, well, very few, yes, but I mean, that we were able to do, we thank God for that. We did that in the different communities, that's in Ilorin, East and South local governments, in my wards precisely, in Baritu and Okakawa. So basically, I am eager to work with rural communities. That's where my passion lies, because I know they're a bit behind. It's my hope that we're able to bring them a lot closer to what the urban centers are enjoying. And that's why when I did my work, my focus was on the rural communities, because I have a special passion for them in the rural communities. So basically, I'm here to serve my people, and I'm happy with what I achieved when I served. And I will answer a few of your questions. Thank you so much. Am I satisfied? Very much so in the short time. Yes, there are still a lot that we can do, but I mean, the government has done so much so far to fill in the gap. Like we're all aware, in the last administration, not much is done, and that's why we are where we are. But moving forward, because of paucity of funds, a lot more would have been achieved than for paucity of funds. So I would like to see, and also by the grace of Almighty God, if I eventually become the representative of this constituency, I would like to see us have more functional toilets in our schools. I think that is, there's a lot of gap there. Then I would also like to see a situation where we have more of our students that can read and write. I think we are doing a lot in that regard, because our teachers were trained on Jolly Phonics, and phonics also teaches the basics of reading, being able to read and write. So I pray that we have much more to be able to fund training and retraining of our teachers. And that's one place where also I would come in by the grace of Almighty God, if I eventually become the representative of these two local governments. Thank you. To me later, that unlike what we have now, you know, with the offer robbery that happened, you guys are aware, you're journalists, it has reduced a bit the violence, the aggression, because they know that we are able to trace it to them. I'm not going to mention names now. So those are the reasons that he thought at the time. It's a bit more peaceful. Like if you go on our roads now, like what we used to have before, those we call the good boys. I mean, in the past, they were something else. They were more like bandits. But those things really have reduced in our community. So I think, because he did mention to me that normally that in politics that there's always so much volatile cases, let me see, so to say. So I think that's one of the reasons at the time. But then, like I said, I didn't question him, and I didn't ask the reason why. I just took it that way. I knew that God, in His infinite mercy, if He really knows that I'm passionate about this thing, somehow He will come to say yes about it, and that's where we are. I mean, years after. And your boss, like you said, my husband, is my first critique on that job. He's my first supporter on the job, and he helps my job a great deal. Then for the education sector, you said it's in shambles. Yes, we all are aware, and like I stated earlier, because I've been working with the public schools since 2012, like I said. Yes, it is. I know one of the reasons why this is so is because of funding. If only we could improve on that, because there are lots more that we would have achieved as well in my time as the Commissioner for Education and Human Capital Development, the for paucity of funds, like I mentioned. So I think that is major. Then secondly, I won't say it's also secondary, because it should be primary. We need commissioners or ministers at the helms of that affairs in the education sector that are really passionate about the education of our children. So if that also we get right, that would definitely improve things a great deal as well. Thank you.
Right on.
Thank you so much for that question again. What gave me the courage? Like I said, I'm the most prepared because I've been on this journey before. That's number one. Number two, I have worked, like I said as well, not from now, with the people from that constituency, Ilorin East and South local government areas of the state. Though I was nominated for Ilorin South local government, again I didn't abandon my people from Ilorin East local government. I love to work with people. I relate well with my people. I can say that confidently, not because of politics. That's my nature. And thirdly, I have, like I said, been doing things for those communities before now. Before I even thought I was going to someday want to contest. I know my community very well. I know that when you leave Center Goro, you can go and come out close to Bonanta area. I know that when you come out from Pataki, you can go to Karuma area and come out at Ipata area as well. I know my community very well. I know the people. Even when I was in office between January and August last year, I still had things that we did together with people from that community. So whatever I do for people in my community, I'm not doing that because I am in the office. I've always had a fabulous relationship with my people. So that's number three. Number four, I'm prepared because I know that APC also is a disciplined party, and like we all read on social media, that we are going to be given a level playing ground. I've had a lot of people in town saying all sorts that His Excellency the Governor had people he was going to use, and I keep telling them that I know him, I have worked with him, and I'm sure he will leave everybody to go and do his work in his words. So I have no doubt in my mind that that's the relationship that I've sustained over time, without knowing that this time would come, is going to be there to leverage on by the grace of God, that goodwill. Then also that courage, because like you said, sir, we are maybe 7 or 8 or so, but I normally don't look at competitors. I don't even see people as my competitors, that's the truth. When we started this job as commissioners, a few months into the job, a few people were saying, oh, some were competing against the other. I always focus, and my focus is on the goalpost. I'm not going to be distracted by even losing in whatever I'm doing. My focus is always on winning, and I don't look at the sides to see who's doing what. It's just about me going to succeed with my team, and that in itself alone has given me that courage. More so, the appointment is not tenured. On the 31st of December in 2021, when the cabinet was dissolved, a lot of people called me to say, oh, and now, but I kept telling them it wasn't a tenured appointment. So at any time you could leave office. In life, you can't want to eat your cake and have it. And I need time as well to be able to focus on the task ahead, and which is winning and representing my people. It's not about me now, that's the truth, and that's reality. I know what my people need, and I want to be able to work to get that done for them. And God sees the minds, and you can't fool God. I've had people even contesting with us now that had always told me they don't want to have things to do with politicians, and now they are out as well to contest. You are not going to fool God, you know. So that in itself, I'm confident, and I'm out to get this done, and I know God in His infinite mercy is going to help us to achieve this. Thank you.
Mr.
Good evening.
Question. By birth, I'm from Ilori East Local Government, and by marriage, I'm from Ilori South Local Government. We are humans. Normally, people would have bias from where they are from. That's the truth all the time. So the edge I have, I'm from both local governments. So definitely, I have to just strike a balance between both to ensure that none is left behind. And by the power of Almighty Allah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. That's what I have been doing. When I give Ilori most things as a commissioner, nominations that come to me usually are for Ilori South Local Government. Definitely I give them whatever slot is for them. But again, there are also some people in government that you can always talk to for one or two things. We have a few agencies doing things that involve ad hoc. So I always ensure for my local governments as well in Ilori East, I don't leave them behind. I get things done for them. As a representative from this local government, what a lot of representatives don't know is that you don't fully call the shots. You must work very well, exceedingly well, with your people to know what their needs are. You can't just dump things on their laps. So that is one major thing I will be doing by the grace of Allah, to ensure that I have that strong relationship with my people, to listen to them that I have been doing, to let them make their choices. Yes, you can't always give all that they want, but I will make sure that we work with what the true needs of my people are. Yeah, and like I mentioned, I've been to the rural communities as well. There's so much as a representative I can do to complement the effort of His Excellency the Governor in the education sector. And I'm going to be doing that wholeheartedly when, by the grace of Allah, I become the representative of Ilori East and South Federal Constituency. Thank you very much.
Apart from the challenges you notice,
I don't know if you are all aware that we have that Kwara Learn program. I think that's one thing that we have done for the public sector that will turn around the education sector of our state forever, for good. And we'll be introducing digital technology to the schools. The training for our teachers will be flagged off in a few days from now. And the pilot local governments will be Barutin, Ilori East, Ilori West, and Ofa local government areas. By the second year, we'll have 4 more local governments added to that to make 8. By the third year, another 4 to make 12. And by the last year, which is the 4th year that the first contract rounds up, we'll have the 16 local government areas already captured. So I think that, for me, is major. Yes, as we progress, you see what challenges and you see how to fix them. But for now, His Excellency has invested so much into that sector. And like I said, being an educationist myself, and having worked in both ministries, that's the tertiary education and science and technology, and education for Ministry of Education and Human Capital Development, I sleep well at night, knowing that we are not where we used to be, knowing that things have improved tremendously. And I'm so satisfied that we have achieved this so far. Yes, we can still do a lot more. And that Kwara Learn program will transform that sector for good. Thank you.
All right,
let me first, I haven't done that. Let me extend my appreciation to all education stakeholders in the state, because we had their full support, we had their cooperation, and they were happy working with us, and also we didn't leave them behind. Like I mentioned in my inaugural meeting with the management of the ministry, we can't do anything alone by ourselves. As a Ministry of Education and Human Capital Development, we had to work with other critical stakeholders, and we did that all through my stay in office. And I'm sure the next commissioner will also build on that. So let me first thank them for that. The major challenge I would say that we had would be funding. Like I said earlier, there are a lot that would have achieved within that short period, but for funds. And how prepared I am, I would say this again, I'm really prepared, because I have gone around those communities, not just from now, I've been doing that now for years. I just didn't wake up today to say I would want to contest. Like I mentioned earlier, in 2018, I had seen that we had a gap to fill, and I had raised it at the time, and you don't raise, or I don't work without plan. Preparedness is like 50% victory in life, and that's something I work with. So if in 2018 I wasn't even in government, I didn't even have the experience of public service, I just had my own experience of my private sector, where I was working and all the things I had done in my little way, and I knew I needed a bigger platform to be able to do much more. Now, I'm sure God just said at the time through my husband, no, don't go yet. I wanted you to have this experience of public service as well, because you would need to have that, so that you know where to work and what can be achieved. So that has given me, it has opened my mind to a lot more than we can do and achieve when and if eventually I become the representative of my people from Ilorin East and South local government. Thank you.
Well done, ma'am. Let me call on this side.
The two last speakers, that you write, please, write to the ministry. You could also inform the communities to see them in the ministry, because normally they act swiftly on issues like this. In fact, a few people even write His Excellency's office directly, and promptly it sends those letters to the concerned ministries. If it has to do with education, immediately sends to us and tells us to treat, and we act fast on them. And I want to believe that would still be sustained. So please write.